everybody, it's Tim here again, doing our fun tour of the world of desserts. And today we find ourselves in North Africa. We're going to Libya, and we're going to make what sounds divine, quite unusual, but we're going to make a pumpkin bechamel pudding. Sound good or what? Very simple, and believe it or not, it includes a pumpkin. So I have prepared some pumpkin earlier on. We've got about a pound, sorry, not a pound, about 1.2 kilograms, and that's, I guess that's nearly 2.5 pounds. I think I'm right there. And we need to get this soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plop this into my big pot here. All I've done with the pumpkin is I peeled it, taken the seeds out, kept the seeds of course, because there is nothing more divine than a roasted pumpkin seed. All you do is put a little bit of oil on, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, leave them in there until they roast up, and they are just epically good. So, 2.5 pounds of pumpkin in here, and let me just go over the rest of the ingredients. 2 cups of sugar, about 100 grams, which is about a cup of flour, 2 cups of milk, little bit of vanilla, should be a bean, I'm using essence, you know how I feel about this, a stick of butter and a couple of eggs, and that's it. First thing to do is to get the pumpkin boiling away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about a cup of sugar on top of that, because we want to make it nice and sweety. And then on top of that we are going to just put enough water to cover the pumpkin whilst it boils. So I'll tell you what, to make it easy, I'm just going to take it out of the tap. So I'm going to turn this on. Hopefully it'll turn on without me having to, no, I think I might need, oh there it did, oh goody goody. So we're going to bring that to a boil to soften that. I might just put a little bit more water on top of it, so a bit more, that'll do us nicely. So we're going to let that boil away. Once it's boiled and soft, we'll see you on the flip side, kids. So, we're back to the pumpkin. It's been bubbling away really rather nicely here. I guess maybe 10 to 15 minutes, so that the pumpkin is nice and cooked, it's soft and will be easy to mix and mash. I'm going to turn that off, and that's coming back over here, and I'm going to use my hand blender for this, I think, and I'm going to start sprinkling in my flour. Hand blender, it's my favourite tool. I use it, I think, more than anything else in the kitchen. What's so lovely is you don't have to do that old-fashioned thing of having to pour whatever it is you want liquidised into a liquidizer. You can just do it in the pot. Saves the washing out. Gotta be good. Okay, so that is mixing up nicely, and into that I'm going to put the remainder of my 2 cups of sugar. In you go. And then I'm now going to add my milking. Recipe suggests, and I like this idea, is to make the bechamel all the richer, to put a little bit of mashed pumpkin into it. Most of the pumpkin is just going to go on the bottom of the pie dish, but it will be covered with the bechamel once it's thickened up. I'm going to put some heat on to help this baby thicken up. There we go. I'm going to just mash a little bit of pumpkin to put in there. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to use the bottom of this. Why not? Wasty naughty wanty naughty. That can go in there. You're in the way, Juggy. That's there. And I'm going to give that a little mash with my masher. Yeah, that's definitely nice and cooked. Don't think you have to overdo it. Don't have to worry about it being pureed or anything. And then that, whoopsie, mind my fingers, that is going to go into my besh. And you go beshy. And then I'm going to give it one quick go with my hand blender. What I'm also going to pop into here, just to finish this divine sauce, is about a teaspoon of vanilla. That'll do us. And then I'm also going to put the stick of butter in. In you go. Let's have another go. Oh, it's thickening up quite nicely. Oh, and it's a gorgeous colour. Do you know what I'm also going to do? And this is me just being a resourceful cook. Do you remember I made those African donuts? Where were they from? They weren't from Liberia, they were from Lesotho. And I made a whole load of cinnamon sugar to dump them in. And they were so good. But I've got a little bit of that left, and I think I'm just going to put a teaspoon's worth of that into the bechamel just to perk it up a little bit. Why not? That'll do us. Maybe a little bit more. That's oh, there you are. Okay, so we had to have a little cut there. There wasn't any chaos. We just needed to configure. So the bechamel is doing gorgeously. All I've got to add to the mix are the 2 eggs. These, of course, are going to help it thicken, make it that little bit more custardy. Oh, I did a daft thing. I put my mixer in the sink and I hadn't finished with it, and I dropped my towel. Oh well, there you go. So I'm going to mix the eggs into the bechamel here. It's still on a very low heat, and it's thickening up really very nicely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, what I've also done is I turned the oven on to 350 because this is going to have to bake for a little while. In the bottom of my my pie dish, I have put about 1/3 of the pumpkin, and I've smushed it. There's nothing else, just smushed pumpkin in there. And I'm going to get my ladle, and I'm going to pour this gorgeous bechamel over the top of it. And then ultimately, once I've layered it, I will put another layer of pumpkin on top. So it's sort of like a pumpkin bechamel lasagna almost. Well, not really, but you know, similar kind of styly going on there. So there's that. That looks lovely. I then put another layer on. I mashed some earlier, just to make things a bit easier. So spoon that in on a second layer, and then what we will do is we will top this with the rest of the bechamel. There it is. There's some chunks in there, but I don't think it's going to matter too much, because once it cooks, it'll all break down and turn into gorgeous layers. I think that's it. I'll put it all in. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then last but not least, put some more of the besh in. Okay, so there you go. I think I need to tidy this up a little bit. It looks a little bit slapdash, not for the likes of you discerning cooks out there. So let me make it look a little bit neater. I'm using my neatening skewer here, which is well known in culinary circles. There we go. Okay, so there are our 2 layers of bechamel and pumpkin. I'm going to bung it in the oven at 350 until it starts to sort of brown a bit on top, and then we're done. You can serve it you can serve it warm, or you can serve it cold. And of course, we'll come back once it's out of the oven because we need to do a taste test. Yeah. So I'll bung it in the oven and we'll be back in a jiffy. That's not hot? No, that's fine. Okay, here we go. Hello, Mr. Oven. Oven's above. And there you go. I'm guessing probably 20 minutes is all it'll need, but I'll let you know exactly how long it's been in there once we're done. Okay, let's give it a whirl, shall we? So again, pumpkin bechamel pudding, and it looks gorgeously puddingy, doesn't it? Okay, where shall I go? I'm going to go in the corner here. I'm not going to be a complete pig and put that straight into my mouth because that would be just rude, but I want to make sure I've got a nice bit of pumpkin, steamingly hot, so it's a bit runnier than I was expecting, but obviously as it cools it'll firm up. Lovely. That's a very old-fashioned taste. It kind of reminds me of the type of thing my granny would have made. You know, the pumpkin is so sweet, and that custard, which I don't know about you, I just find it such an old-fashioned taste too. Really, really lovely, comforting, soul food, I would call this. Everything's right with the world, eh? Really lovely. I would give this 2 definite thumbs up. Always a pleasure to have you here, and we'll see you next time. All the best.